Hey, middle-aged musician here, and today I thought I would talk about this odd cultural artifact that back in the 80s, Guitar Player magazine used to have these um, vinyl inserts they would put in the magazine. So you'd tear these out and put them on your record player and play them as many times as they lasted, which might not be that many times. Anyway, I was going through some of my vinyl, and I have a folder of these. Um, some of them are in not that great a shape. I mean, you have to realize these are all from the mid 1980s. Um, One of the first ones I remember listening to, they had Guitar Player had this a couple of articles about the synth axe, which was this MIDI guitar thing, and so they had Robert Fripp and Alan Holdsworth play them. So on one side, if you can see that, yeah, that's the Alan Holdsworth side, and that is the Robert Fripp side. So you put them on your turntable and play them, and away you went. Uh, yeah, initially they were two-sided, later they were one-sided. So I'm trying to start with the two-sided ones. Um, Richie Kotzen, who plays with Winery Dogs now, I think, was a Laney endorsee. So he was signed by Metal Blade Records, and a couple of his songs out there. And then they had, yeah, here's some like lost Jimi Hendrix stuff. The one says excerpt from Fuzz and Feedback and Wah Wah, and the other says excerpts from Whammy Bar and Finger Grease from Jimi Hendrix. I'm not even sure what that is. My introduction to Racer X with Paul Gilbert, Frenzied and Scarified. Ibanez and Dorsey at that time. In Canadian Guitar Summit, that was an interesting one. They had Alex Lifeson from Rush, Rick Emmett from Triumph, Ed Bickert, and Leona Boyd, who I don't remember who they were from. They basically said, let's get a bunch of Canadian guitar players together and have them record some music and write some music together, which they did. So that's kind of interesting. Steve Morse, he was with the Dixie Dregs at the time. Now I think he's playing with the Eagles. He was an endorsee for JBL speakers. So he's on one side, and Jimmy Vaughn and Duke Robillard playing a song on the other side. There's a Steve Morse side, and the Jimmy Vaughn, Duke Robillard side. When I was a kid, Carvin, which no longer makes amps, the guitar side of that is still around, but not under Carvin. It's under Kiesel, which was their original name, as I recall. But anyway, Steve Vai was a endorsee because he'd kind of gotten hooked on because of Frank Zappa. So the Carvin X100B guitar amp. I remember listening to this album when I was about 16, going to LA and going to East Hollywood to the Carvin store and grabbing a Carvin guitar and going and spending some time with an X100B stack. My parents took photos of it somewhere. And then Michael Hedges, which was the first time I'd ever seen a harp guitar. Learned about that because of Guitar Player and these delightful little inserts. And there's Michael Hedges one. Amazing players. Like both amazing players. Though you're not sure what this is. Brad Jones and Jimmy Blackthorne. Don't remember that. Greg Howe. I remember this. This is my introduction to Greg Howe. He was a endorsee for Fender. So he's playing these red knob Fender amps and the Fender The Strat monster player. The guy's just got tone out the wazoo. These were just absolutely fantastic songs. Don't remember these guys. I'm not saying anything about them. It just the Greg Howe stuff just wowed me as a teenager. Of course, over time, these were not the most durable, medium out there. So this particular one had gotten warped. I cut it down so I could play it still. Eric Johnson's Cliffs of Dover. That's why I cut this down to play this. What's on the other side? Steve Morse. Steve Morse, I think it might be the exact same recording for JBL. Might be a different one. But those were all double-sided. And then they went single-sided. That was like a jolt to me as a kid because I felt like I was getting half as much value for the money I was paying for the magazine. Elliot Fisk, solo classical guitar. Again, monster player. Nothing on the backside though. We've got one side. See, the other side is like protect your collection. After seeing how I had to cut the other one away, that makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, these things are not durable. Gotta set these somewhere where they're not gonna fall down. Enough of them. George Morel. Spanish style. Don't remember this one particularly. Doesn't mean anything about the artist. Just certain ones had more or less an impact. Adrian Belew. So played with Zappa when I was a kid. When I was an impressionable teenager, Adrian Belew was living in Champaign-Urbana, which was just like the next town over, basically. So yeah, had a impact on me. Herb Ellis Quartet, nice jazz quartet, a version of Jingle Bells. This thing probably won't ever play correctly if you look at the damage on it, but like it just goes with the territory. These are neat little things. And then Jimmy Bryant, Stratosphere Boogie. I think that's the last one of these that I still have. I had some others that were just not salvageable anymore. Every month I used to go and get, Guitar Player magazine and get these. I don't have the magazines anymore. They'd been gutted. First thing was pulled out were these so I could play them on my record player. The next thing I pulled out was all the tab because they would print tab for all the songs. So I'd pull that out so I could play it. Just tear it out of the magazine. And the third thing I would pull out were all these ads that I would just line my bedroom with. Laney amps and Marshall amps and whatnot. And so by the end of the day, there wasn't a whole lot left. So yeah, they did not die a gracious death. But I still have these, and I've had them for 40 years. So interesting historical artifacts. Vinyls come back in. Got a turntable. Every once in a while I'll listen to one of these. Some of them just can't be played anymore. Most of the cool stuff you can find out there, but there's some stuff that you really are hard pressed to find. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that because I was going down a venture with memory lane. I was trying to organize one of my cubby holes over here, and thought I'd share that with you guys. So anyway, middle-aged musician, thank you for spending the time with me, and I'll chat with you later.